Good morning, all. Hope you are well. We welcome you to our motivational webinar. Today, we are joined by Professor Arun from the University of Essex. Professor Arun, he hails from Trivandrum, Kerala, India, and is currently living in Manchester, UK. He went to Government Model Higher Secondary School, Trivandrum, and it is one of the oldest institutions in the state of Kerala. A picture of it included here. The alumni include superstar super movie star Mohanlal, the fabled movie director Priyadarshan, Krish Gopalakrishnan, the ex-CEO of Infosys, the worldwide tech company, and several others. He has a BA and an MA from the University College Trivandrum, which is a prestigious college founded in 1834 with a long list of excelling alumni, including G. Madhavan Nair, the ISRO ex-chairman, T.P. Srinivasan, a former ambassador to the UN from India, Dr. P.K. Iyengar, a nuclear physicist, and many more famous faces. He has an MPhil from the JNU University, Delhi, and a PhD from the University of Manchester. Previously, he worked at Ulster University, and then moved to the University of Manchester, then to the University of Central Lancashire, and is currently a professor at the esteemed University of Essex in the Colchester campus. For us, he's Ananta Shree's dad, a regular participant in our reading club.
Research and interest. Professor Arun is very multi-talented, an artist and an eloquent narrator. His research interests include global development and finance, emerging economies, financial inclusion, and technology-based delivery. He has done extensive research on sustainable development, social responsibility, and finance on a global scale, traveling from place to place with compassion in his heart. He is compassionate about the community and is involved with several cultural ventures like Shruti. Here are a few snapshots of his many performances of interest.
Reenacting Nirmalyam, written and directed by the renowned writer M.T. Vasudevan Nair, sir, a role played by P.A. Anthony, who got the Bharat Award in 1973.
Here's a picture of M.T. Vasudevan Nair, sir, presenting a memento to Dr.
Here are a few more snapshots of Professor Arun's cultural work.
Professor Arun is a classic example of an all-round personality, a successful academic who displays a wide variety of soft skills that make him an ideal role model. All-round development. Life is all about being multi-talented, being able to change hats and adapt. Professor Arun, we are proud to have you with us today on our Jyoti Learning webinar series. We are truly privileged. And also, a little quote is that don't let yesterday take too much of today. And Professor Arun, we'd just give you the stage.
Can I? Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you all my dear, very dear young friends. I really enjoyed your introduction, a kind introduction. And I noticed that you people have done some research, some real research in terms of finding the details about me. So thank you very much for your time and effort in preparing these slides. And thank you to the Jyoti Learning Club because it's a great thing to know about it, and all the leaders of this club. And other friends like Sharath, thank you for finding time to come here. Is it possible to, can you remove this slide? Then I can share the slide actually.
Yes,
share my slide. Okay, great, thank you. I think that's fine. Good. So, let me find mine. Yes, that is there. Okay. Yeah, so I put a title here, as you can see, it's like around us, around us. It's very important, isn't it? We always look for the spaces in front of us, and we target our goals and move forward. So that's life. We all do that. But it is also important to see life around us. Is there anything which we can contribute to it? It's kind of a lateral vision, lateral type of thinking. That is very important. So I just want to focus some of those issues, but it's not a typical PowerPoint presentation with the words after line, but it is basically a discussion with you all, and you all will say and contribute and enrich our mutual knowledge on this subject area. I think that is very important, because learning is a mutual process. It's not a one-way process, isn't it? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I think we can discuss each other and learn a few things on this one. So let me start with your book club. Are you all enjoying the book club?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
good to know that. Good to hear that. Excellent. So what did you gain out of this book club? You have been attending few sessions in the last few weeks. So what did you gain out of this?
I think when we're in this like difficult time, and it's like nice to see what other people think and that other people are doing the same thing as you, and you can talk about that. And a lot of the books actually, after some people have recommended it, other people go on to read it, and you can see the different viewpoints, and it's really nice to talk to other people.
Thank you, Kankana, for that. So basically what you are saying is you are getting motivated, isn't it? Motivated to read more books. And that is something very important, because you are becoming more and more curious to know new things. But how is it possible? It is possible only when we have good surroundings. You have good parents, they put quite a lot of time for you, and you are staying in good houses, good environment, food all the time. And then more than that, you are also getting £2, isn't it? £2 per book for reading from your parents. So that is one other motivation. But have you ever thought of people who are not privileged like you? Because you all are privileged, because good families, good houses, everything. But there are people around us who are not privileged like us. Isn't it? Am I right?
Yeah. In
Okay.
many countries.
Good. And some people, they born as poor and they live as poor and they die as poor. The whole life, from their birth onwards till the death, they don't have anything else and they live in poverty. So often I wonder, the governments have been doing so many things to help them. Can you think about any particular scheme for them? When you go to supermarket, you see food banks, isn't it?
In like church.
In Tesco or Asda or Sainsbury, they have food banks near the cash counter.
Yeah.
So the idea is you can buy some extra food and put it there, and they will give to homeless people or people who are really poor. So there are many schemes going around us. But I always wonder, what are the reasons for these people to stay as poor and live as poor and die as poor eventually. And people can say, oh, they born to poor parents who don't have any jobs. And some people say, oh, they don't have education. Because if you are educated, then only you will get a job and you can do it. And they are unemployed. Or people say, oh, they have some disabilities. They have some disabilities in terms of working.
Learning disabilities, physical disabilities, like
disabilities, I may not be able to move, or I have some kind of learning disabilities.
Yeah.
People, so all these can affect. So why people are continuing as poor in the modern world, it's a very, very big research area. There are so many reasons for that. But I think it's very important to have some perspective, little perspectives on this. And that is what I'm trying to do. Okay, let me move on to the next slide. I have only pictures in my slide, by the way. Look at these pictures. It's so powerful, isn't it? Is there any simple point, any single point you want to highlight out of these pictures? Anything which you strike?
They're all living in poor conditions with lots of rubbish everywhere, and it's really poor way to live, and there must be loads of disease, etc.
Okay, yeah, that's true. I think they live in very, very challenging situations, and no doubt in that one. But if you look this photograph carefully, you may wonder.
Mostly children.
These children, mostly in Africa or Asia.
Yes.
But do we have poverty in the UK or in the West in that sense?
We still have poverty in the UK, but not as much magnitude as there is in countries like Africa and...
Excellent, Gautam, excellent. Look at this picture. These pictures are about poverty in the UK. So we also have homeless people. We also have people begging in the street or sleeping in the street at narrow gullies and very difficult living conditions. But there is a difference between this and the previous one. What's the main difference? This is the poverty you see in the UK and other countries, and this is the poverty you see in most of the developing countries. Countries in Africa, Asia, Latin America. But what is the difference between these two?
In the UK, places in the West, people are more countries help poorer countries, not the countries, people. They give things like benefits, etc. But in third world countries, they just can't afford it, so they have to live on without any help from the government.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good point, Gautam. That's a good point. But I want to draw your attention to another feature. If you look at the poverty in these developing economies, you see that conditions are a bit more harsher, isn't it? It's extreme difficult situations. Am I right? Here it's okay. In some situations there, some you can see from the pictures, but here the conditions are really challenging to the next level. So I want to highlight the point that poverty exists everywhere, most of the countries, but the impact on the poverty is severe in different places. And places like this, there is no help from the government, no social security, and children and families are suffering much more than people in these countries. Okay? I'm not saying that the poverty in the UK is not that, it's not that important. It is very, very important issue. But what I'm saying is, in terms of an impact, I think people who live in developing economies are suffering much more than people in the West. And now, how do we define poverty? Because normally people say, okay, if you don't have X amount of income, then you are poor. But the problem is, we live in different countries, and these different countries are in different economic situation. So it's so difficult to say that. For instance, with £1 in UK, you can go to India and buy 90 rupees or 100 rupees worth of things. Isn't it?
Yes.
So the £1 of things, what you can get in the UK and what you can get for an equivalent amount in India, and these two are different. Okay, so that is a very, very important point in terms of measuring poverty. We cannot say uniform blankets and say that, okay, these people are the people who are receiving less than £1.90 are poor. That is one of the definitions used by World Bank and others. £1.90, $1.9 a day. And do you know how many people live under that definition? That's a very, very simple definition. And nearly 2 billion people in the world, 2 billion people in the world, they live below poverty line following that definition. So what is the global population? Anyone please? How many people live in the world? Any number?
7 billion.
Yeah, 7.5 billion. So that is a big number. So out of that, nearly 2 billion people live below poverty as per the very, very simple definition of poverty. That is not true. We know that with £1.90 or $1.9, how much you can get it from the shop to live for a day. So it's so difficult. And then one more. The target group which affected by poverty. The children are the most difficult target group. You won't believe, if you think about 30 students in a class, 9 of them are poor. I'm not in the UK. I'm talking about the situation in the UK. I'm not saying that every class has 9 poor. That is not what I meant. What I meant, on an average, if you take 30 students in a class, 9 of them are poor. So that's very important. And in the UK alone, the statistics says nearly 4.2 million children, they are living in poverty in the UK. So you have to think about, okay, the definitions are different, the situation is, context is different, but the poverty exists, and particularly child poverty exists more even in the West. You know, many years back, I was studying about poverty. I started studying about poverty in different places. So like many of us, I thought poverty is not very much visible, at least in the United States of America. But you know, you won't believe that poverty is quite high even in the city of New York. And if you go to East London, you see that a large percentage of the people, they live below the poverty line, as per the country definition. So poverty is a reality.
Excuse me.
Yes, Prakash, please.
Is this $1.96?
Yeah,
applicable?
$1.90. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that the same definition across the world, like in East London as well? Per capita, $1.9.
Yeah, I think that's a definition accepted by UN and World Bank.
So in
But in the UK, it's defined as, there's a slightly a different definition. Different definition in the sense, poverty line is defined as a household income below 60% of the average. So that is the definition we use to determine the social security benefits, means test, etc. But the other one is a blanket definition for the globe to say that $1.9, those who are receiving less than $1.9 a day are defined as poor.
Sorry to ask another question. What is the average income? I'm just trying to find a number. Sorry.
No, our average income varies countries to country.
No, in the UK.
I don't have exact figure with me, Prakash, right now, but I think it varies from country to country.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have an exact figure. I'll find out later on. Yeah. Okay, so that's where the two levels of poverty, two types of poverty, and some poverty is a bit more extreme than others, and they are known as extreme poverty or chronic poverty and all. I'm not going further on that one. But does that mean in all these years we have been working so hard to address the address the issue of poverty, and still nothing has happened? Is that the conclusion you derive? Is a situation of failure or something like that? Oh, no one is doing anything against this. No, don't believe that. That is not right. If you look at this slide, you see that we have achieved a tremendous improvement during the last 2 centuries. If you consider the global population into only 100 people, I'm not saying percentage or not calculating with the large numbers, but just assume that the world population is 100, only just 100 people. So if that is the case, in 1820, the first one, the left one, 1820, 94 people out of 100, they live in extreme poverty. And that has actually reduced to 10 in 2015. So like that, even education, only 17 people have some basic education in 1820. And that has actually increased. You can see the graph here in 2020. So these are the graphs based on calculating or equating world population as 100. So what was the situation in 1820 and what was the situation in 2015? Is there any progress over a period of time? Yes, we have achieved good progress in poverty. We have achieved good progress in education and literacy, good one. Democracy, vaccination, child mortality, different issues, but are related issues. So you can see that in all these indicators, we have achieved tremendous progress. So we need to believe in our system, that the system including our national governments, international agencies, and they all are actually helping to address these issues over a period of time. Okay, are we on the same page?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. COVID-19. Now we live in this condition, COVID-19. We know that many people have been affected by COVID, their health reasons. But many of our friends, they lost their jobs, isn't it? It's a difficult condition, and next 2 to 3 years, it's going to be much more difficult in terms of recession. Recession means there is no growth, because every year we need to grow. This is called the growth. That's a different debate. I'm not getting into that. But again, the point which I want to say here is the poor they may hit hardest by this. Job loss. The prices are rising. If you go to supermarket and buy, If you ask your parents, then they will tell you, before COVID, with 50 pounds, they could buy a certain amount of good, but now it is not possible. You have to pay more, 60 or 70 pounds to get the same basket of items. So the prices have gone up, jobs have gone, services, there is no education. Education schools are actually closed in many places. When schools closed, privileged people like us, we use technology and we have online classes, book clubs, etc. But there are many in the world who don't have this access. So that is a very big issue. We assume that, okay, schools are closed, so what? We have computers and we have internet, so we can study. Yes, we can study, but not all. So there is a digital technology can also create some kind of division in the society, isn't it? So poor maybe they may hit the hardest out of COVID-19. Okay, so think about all these slides one by one in your mind. The poverty, the levels of poverty in different places, are they same? Are they different? In terms of impact, is it okay? So that means are we a failure? No, not at all. We achieved so many things over the last 2 centuries. So that is quite clear. But COVID-19 actually hits more. There is a very interesting statistics I want to share. Since 1990, we have achieved tremendous progress in reducing poverty. But that is going to be reversed now. As per the current projections, the poverty is actually going to increase after COVID-19. Very sad and unfortunate, but a very challenging situation. Okay, so that is about the poverty I want to say. Now I want to take you to another debate. If you don't have enough cakes, what will we do? You have got 5 friends in the house, and your mom bought only 4 cupcakes. And the 5th person, he is not getting a cake. So what will your mother do? She will go to the shop and get 1 more cake for him, isn't it?
No.
So similarly, if we don't have any resources, we have to make resources. We have to do more things. And that process is called growth. We have to grow more. We have to grow and produce more. If we don't have enough masks to cover corona, we have to produce more. If we don't have enough ventilators in the hospital, we have to produce more. That's what we have done in the context of COVID. So the point I am driving here is, it is very important to have growth, a growth perspective. And sadly, all the agencies are predicting a fall in the growth rate in the coming years because of COVID. So the production of cakes, that is going to fall in the coming years. So if you have cake only, you can distribute this cake to everybody and we can have an equal one, but that is not going to happen. So that is a very big challenge, growth and poverty. And in this triangle, there is one more thing that is called inequality. Inequality, not equality. Hi, Anna. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anna, it's a very, very simple concept. Just think about it. If you don't have cake, we have to produce more cake. So that is where I want to discuss poverty and growth. But similarly, if somebody distributes cake in a house, and some people get, okay, I am getting 3 cakes, and my sister gets only 1 cake, and my younger one gets only half cake. Is it good? Is it the right way of doing it? If you have two more siblings in the house, everyone should get the same number of cakes, isn't it? At least. Of course, if you are too little, you can't get one full, you can't eat one full. But if you are more or less same age, then you all should get the same number of cakes. But that is not happening in the world. Not everyone is getting the same level of resources, same level of things, same level of items to enjoy. So that is called inequality. So the inequality is a very important issue in the world. Along with the poverty and growth, inequality is also important. So we need growth, we need to grow, very good. And growth means, of course, we can address poverty. But my question is, does this growth increase the inequality? Look at the example of computers, which I said earlier, computers and the digital. With digital and computer, some of us are moving very fast. And some others are not moving that fast. So there's a gap between those who are moving up and those who are not moving up to that extent. So that is called the kind of issue, the inequality. Inequality is a very, along with the poverty. We normally assume poverty is the big issue, but inequality is equally important. Have you heard about Ambani?
Yeah.
Ambani, one of the richest industrialists in the world. Isn't it fun? Quite a lot of money. He has his own aeroplane, big houses, and all those things.
And probably Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon Musk, yes.
Elon popular with these guys.
Yeah. But millions of people in the world who don't have any of those things. So that's why inequality is important. So, is there any, from what I said just now, you understand that there is a relationship between growth, poverty, and inequality there. And I have a statistics here which says richest 1% of the population, the global population, okay? They are the big winners. If you look at the data from 1990 to 2015, you see that almost majority of the growth and the benefits of the growth are accrued by this 1% of the population compared to others. So you know that this is huge. I consider more than poverty. Poverty, we can use many measures to address it, but inequality is a much more problem. Look at, let me explain that issue a little bit more. Look at the technological advancement. And technological advancement, so we need technology. Definitely we need technology. We need artificial technology, different types of currencies. Otherwise we can't move on, isn't it? And even in the period of COVID, we all are surviving through Zoom and discussions like using the technology. So technology is a must. But as I said earlier, technology can create inequality as well. I don't know how many of you are following this story back in Kerala, because schools are actually closed now. So the children are getting education, like online education. So how do you get this online education? You need a computer or a television at home, because this is like a channel kind of thing. So you need a television. So government moved from the physical, our normal classes to online classes. But then they realized many people in the state, they don't have a television or a computer. So then a big movement is happening in Kerala, where people are actually buying television for those who don't have a television. They are buying it and giving it to them. It's a big movement. Everyone is getting involved. So what does that mean? We have some obligation, isn't it? We are the beneficiaries of something. So we have some obligation to help others return to the society. And the other thing is climate change. So what do you know about climate change?
Climate change is something, it's connected to the weather. So the climate change every season.
Okay.
Or
Okay. Good, Anna. I think is good. Anyone else want to add anything more on what Anna said?
Is the climate change that we now face about how our actions are affecting the world and how it's artificially changing?
Okay, and same. Very good, very good. So that means our situation, our environment is changing because of pollution and so many other things happening around us. So globally, there is a big movement by big countries saying that we have to control the carbon emission and many other things related to climate change. Is it good or bad?
bad.
Oh, it's bad. So these measures are really good. Yes, good. But there is a hidden problem there. I agree with you. I fully agree with you. This is a very big issue and this can affect, yeah, I mean, no doubt. But there is a hidden issue. What is that hidden issue? Or the countries like India, China, countries in Africa, they say, oh, we can't accept these goals. Why? Because they said we have poverty and inequality in our country and we need more growth. How can you have more growth? You need more factories. More factories means more pollution. A particular type of factory. So it's more pollution. So the big issue there is we need growth, but we need climate. But these two are like, it's so difficult to move along. So these are some of the puzzles around us. We know that we need more growth and we agree with these things, but in reality, some of these things are very difficult to implement. It's not like science. Science is quite clear. We know we have different formulas and we know the outputs. But in real world situation, there are so many puzzles around us. This is a classic puzzle. We need to protect our climate. Yes, we need to protect our environment. But how will we feed our people? Feed our people means we need to grow. But how do you grow? The grow means you have to produce something. But how do you do that? Then the climate change challenges will appear. Okay? And finally, we have now poor countries and rich countries. You can see from that top right diagram. There is a big gap between these two, poor and rich. What will they do? And look at these two shoes. It's a typical case, poor and rich. What will we do? How we can move from here? If you look around us, look around the globe, you see that many countries have actually grown faster than normally, in a normal growth rate. India is a case. India is growing at a good phase. The other country is China. If you look at the China since 1978, they have been growing fantastically well. 2-digit growth. Some of you may understand. It's a 2-digit growth. That means more than 10%. So you can see that. So the point is, why some are growing, some are not growing? It's a very difficult to answer this question but I can explain it one of the basic tenets. Normally in economics, people say economics is a science looking at these resources around us, how to distribute resources, etc. Okay, forget about all those things. But think like this. we know that some countries, in all these countries, that there are two important types of resources. One is us. Us means workers, people, labor. So we are all doing it, isn't it? Uncle is doing this talk, you people are listening to it and gaining some knowledge. So we are all doing some work around us. So the labor, we have a big role there. But the second issue is about capital. We need money, or we need computers, we need resources like that. But how efficiently we use these two resources, that's important. For instance, in a simple language, if you listen to this discussion or the book club, so you are putting your time on this, and then the books are there, computer is there. But it is important that you may spend 1 or 2 hours to prepare these slides and make a presentation. So what is important is how much time you are using, or how little time you are using more efficiently. Have you got this question? How much time you are using, or how little time you are using to make it more efficiently. Or some people may say, oh, I have been studying for last 5 hours, but I am not getting into it. But some people say, oh, I did some background work and then studied for 2 hours, and now I can do it. So that means we have to use it in an efficient manner. There may be many factors which support this efficiency. And one of the factors is technology, of course, and many others. So but in one line I can say, there are countries in the world continues as poor because they are not using their resources efficiently. There are some countries in the world which are developing as rich because they are using their resources efficiently. The first one is not efficiently, the second one is more efficiently. It is there. Just simply imagine when you go to holidays, when you go to Kerala, you see that, oh, okay, this is a nice place. My grandparents are here, family is here, my extended family is here, my cousins are here. Very good. All those things are good. But why roads are not that good, Daddy? I can't travel in the roads, these roads. Or why electricity is not here for all 24 hours? There are power cuts all the time happening here. So why is it that? We have water, or we have nuclear, or so many things to produce electricity, but we don't have 24-hour electricity. Sometimes the power cuts and different things there. So that is called, although you have resources, how efficiently you are using it. Nigeria is a classic case. Do you know where is Nigeria? In which continent?
It's in Africa.
Ah, good. Yes, it's in Africa, but it's one of the richest countries in terms of resources. They have plenty of petrol, gold, and so many things. But, there is a big issue of poverty, big issue of inequality, corruption, and so many other things there. So that is why Nigeria is not America. Nigeria can become America only when they address all these issues. So the difference between poor and rich, so many factors. One is their culture, their offices, institutions there, their geography, their resource base. All these things are very important in terms of identifying this. But during the last few years, there is a big effort by United Nations to have an equitable growth, sustainable growth among all the countries around us. And these goals there are 17 goals. So those who are interested, you can Google it and find out what are these goals. But the first goal is alleviate poverty, definitely. And then one on inequality. So the 17 development goals there all the country governments are actually putting all their resources to help others and to move forward to achieve the sustainable goals by 2030. But I don't know how far it would be successful because of COVID. Because of COVID, governments have to spend money on many other things, so they may not be able to achieve all these goals by 2030. But still, that's a yardstick, and everyone is working towards that. So what I expected out of this session is to get an idea about what is around us, beyond our home or beyond our country, globally, what is happening, what are the important issues. Nowadays, if you work on artificial intelligence, if you work on medical science, if you work on robotics, or even any other issue in that sense, the main problem, everyone is targeting on these issues. Because you may have a good technology, but whether that technology is useful to address the poverty or inequality or and safe drinking water. One of the 17 goals there, safe drinking water. We assume, we can open the tap and drink water from the tap. I am from Trivandrum, and fortunately, my place was also like that. You can drink water from tap, but not same in many other places. So there are certain issues which we need to look around, and when we study more, when we learn more, we need to think about these issues as well. How I can contribute to this. I can help others, and that is very important in terms of knowledge. Knowledge is actually like a big river. Knowledge comes from one, because I have discussed this with you, some ideas, and then now you will go back and you will think about it. Okay, so these are some of the issues very important around us. Our governments have been working on this, and okay, what can I do? What can I do for this? I know that because of your training in the school, many people are actually conserving, the water. You are very concerned about the water, not wasting water, and also switch off all the electricity switches in the night, because you don't want to waste electricity. Because these are some of the resources, very, very precious things, water, electricity around us. So if we preserve it, then people can use it for more time. So the efficient use of resources, very careful use of resources, that's very important. Our India's father of nation, our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, and he said once, world has abundant level of resources. Everyone can have equal or a good living because of using that resources in a clear, transparent, judicious manner. But we are not doing that. We are grabbing it. We want to have more, isn't it? And the children, when they buy pens or pencils from the school, you want to have more than 10 or 15 pencils. You want to take it to the school. You have to keep all these things. But do you really need that many pencils in your pencil box? You need only one or maximum two, isn't it? So we need to be very much aware about the resources, how to use these resources, because there are many people in the world who are actually crying for these resources. So it's our duty, our obligation to look around us. Okay, I stop here. So that's my take to take on today. Okay, thank you for your patient listening, and come back. You ask some questions or clarifications. I don't know I can answer all the questions, but of course I can discuss and I can enrich your thoughts in that way. Okay.
Oh, that's a welcome invitation. Here, people are ready to ask questions. Yes, and Maria.
I'm trying to think of questions, because there's a lot to take in, because he gave like a really good explanation. So I'm like thinking of questions.
You have some burning questions, isn't it? Like some questions, and he should be. Yeah, everyone, you can ask your questions. May not be exactly onto this topic. Whatever questions you have, you can ask.
But do you all think this is a very important issue? That's what I want to know, whether this poverty and inequality, and are these very important issues?
Yes,
Yeah.
very important issues. They like define the world as we know it and should be like helped. And yeah.
Can I say this? Like, I was not aware of poverty this much. Like, to my dear students, how many of you are aware of the poverty?
Well,
Like do any one of you know what is hunger?
we don't actually know as a person because we live in like.
I've got a question.
Yes.
I know we can't see you. Are you able to switch on your video so that professor can see you as well?
Wait, it's dark. Okay.
Yes, everyone, please, you can unmute, switch on your videos, and if I know if it is not working, not to worry, just ask.
Okay, it's working. Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you. Yeah.
Hi. I know. Hi.
What led you to research about poverty? Well, like, who was your inspiration, or do you have a role model, and if so, who?
Yes, that's a good question. But unlike you all, I think we have seen poverty. I'm not saying that I had experienced poverty, but we have seen poverty around us. And yesterday I was talking to Dr. Binoy. There's a place near to our house, and whenever we pass by, we could see the poverty. The children are moving around and they don't have. But I studied technical issues on economics. It's some kind of an economics is a subject area which studied this using mathematics and some other things. So I studied that. So I had a liberty to choose many topics, anything which I can focus on. So immediately I thought this may be a good issue to study. And if I could contribute something, that's really good. And that's the one reason. The second reason is I worked in a department, I worked in a place where my colleagues are also working on these areas. So they gave me some ideas. Oh, why don't you look at this? When I started my job, then I thought, okay, that's a good opportunity. I will look into it. And then on the job, I started to learn more about it. And once you are interested in that one, then you can move forward. You need a kind of a passion. Whatever you do, you need to have a passion for that. So without passion, it's a very mechanical, boring kind of thing. So I don't get bored by statistics or figures or doing it because I think it's very important. And I feel what I do is a contribution to the society. So that is why I started, because of my background, because of my exposure, because of my colleagues' influence, and I started to look into these issues. And that is true with any other subject, maths. How can you, because why I say maths is one of my other favorite subjects. Okay. Because it's so important. You learn it. You can do so many things. You can solve many problems like that. Have you heard about the person called a Ramanuja?
No.
Ramanuja is a great Indian mathematician. Ramanuja. There is a movie as well. I don't know how many of you have seen that movie. Ramanuja. And Ramanuja, with a very short span of life, because he died at the age of 32 or so. But by that time, he produced so many complex mathematical issues, and even now, many people are actually trying to sort that out. So that is very important because he was so passionate, and many other factors contributed to that. So my point is the passion is very, very important. Passion. Whatever you do, you need to maintain that passion. Okay.
Arun,
Yeah.
just again, could you share with us your experience in the work? I think you've done a lot of work in a typical war or studying the economics of a war zone where there was a long-term war in Sri Lanka. And certain work in Bangladesh, which is like torn apart due to natural calamities. What was your exposure? What like a takeover from that?
Yeah, I think the study in Sri Lanka, I will highlight that study because there was a big civil war going on in Sri Lanka at that time. So I traveled all parts of Sri Lanka as part of a survey, including the northeastern part where the problems are there.
Yeah.
So traveled to Jaffna, Trincomalee, and many other places there.
Yeah.
And then because I was looking for to what extent insurance products are helpful for them to manage the risk associated with the civil war. Because the civil war means people lose life, people lose their houses or their legs or hands and so many things there. So to what extent, if they have an insurance, how they can address these kind of issues? Because some of you may know, when you think about insurance, people see that, oh, I don't want insurance because that's not going to help us. So this is a typical traditional developing country attitude towards insurance there. So moreover, I wanted to learn more about it, why people are not taking it, or is it because of a supply problem or because of a lack of a right type of problem, or it's because of some cultural inhibition or the knowledge or any other factors there. And insurance companies are good cheaters. I noticed one thing. When I asked about one area, some people in one area, their main cause of death is snake bite. Snake bite is the main cause of death in that area. But insurance, they don't cover that reason as a cause of death. And they don't consider snake bite as a cause of, as a reason,
as a
cause
claim
of death to get the insurance money there. So insurance companies are cheating. I think they are doing this kind of cheating to it. So I want to educate them involved with that. So that's the main thing in the war zone, quite a lot there. It's called a conflict situation. In a conflict situation, how do you manage this? But the conflict situation in Bangladesh is a different because is considered Bangladesh. I don't know how many of you heard about it. There's a terminology like that, waste basket.
Yeah.
It's used by Henry Kissinger, who was Secretary of State, US, at one point of time. But now it's changed. Now Bangladesh is growing fast and is good one. But still, the poverty is quite high. So I was thinking about it. How we can get people by giving some resources straight to them, because normally there is something going on in India and many other countries where governments can give money to the people, and they feel that if we have money, then we can decide, okay, I want something for today or something for tomorrow, like that. So the choices are mine like that. So that one is happening in a big way in many countries. And there is a famous Indian economist who got a Nobel Prize. Have you heard about this person? An Indian economist, Nobel Prize? Not last year, but few years back. Yes, Amartya Sen. Yes, Amartya Sen. So Sen said it's very important individuals should have choice and freedom. And that's a very important thing. So then the government, this is the way it comes. The academics work on these kind of theories and they develop the theories. And after some time, the governments and policymakers, they look at it and they implement it. So they found out direct benefit to people seem to be an important issue. And I'm sure that some of these issues you may feel that, oh, I'm not getting it, or it's slightly different. It's not for me, like that. You may feel like that. But think about it. These are all some of the things which come to your way in the next few years. It's very, very important. Yeah.
Amiel, you have been raising your hand for some time now. I do want to ask you about Professor Amartya Sen's work. He also produced a lot of studies in poverty, isn't it?
Yes.
Before we go into that, Amiel, what did you want to ask? Unmute and ask.
Okay. As students, what can we do about poverty?
It's a good question. The most important thing, I always feel that to know about things. Okay, this is the condition there. You may not be able to do anything physically or in many other ways by that, but develop a passion. Look around it. If there's a beggar on the road, it's your choice. You can help him or not help him. That's a different issue. But just think about it. And when you walk through the high street, you may see these beggars in the same place. Why they are sitting there? It's a country where all the help is available, and many more resources are here. But still, people are sitting in the street and beg. So maybe is it because are they not wise, or are they not intelligent in terms of using available resources? So for you, I think at your age, Amel, I would say it's important to have that kind of a passion or that kind of curiosity to understand poverty. I think that's very important. And then if that thought is in your mind, and then when circumstance comes, when an opportunity arises, you may be able to react or develop more responses to poverty.
Personally, Amiel get upset with poverty, and he has spent his pocket money on poor people. He has given away his pocket money in the past.
Wow.
And, probably, Amiel, you can produce some answers for this. Like, these are some big questions, and if you evolve your answer, what can you do? That answer. You could be the next Nobel Prize winner.
I mean, also, if you look around your schools or friends, there may be people who have some problems or identify. So you can start from your surroundings, in terms of your friends, and to see, what is meant by poverty, because it may not be that obvious here, but Prakash or Binoy, and we know that, back in India, we have this meal a day program. So many students in our classes, they did not have enough resources to bring afternoon lunch. So what others do is they prepare one additional meal with them, additional lunch packet with them, and then give it to this boy at that time. So it becomes a very big moment like that. So it's not like a exact replication of a situation here, but something like that you can think about it.
Are there any books that are about this that you recommend to us?
That's a good question, Adu. I have some books in mind, but I can't recommend that because it's the college going students and they read it. But let me go for something very simple in terms of explaining this. And if I find a book, I will definitely send it to you. Okay.
You could share it with us.
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you.
By the way, Professor Arun, these are year 6, and they are in the college already, university, and they do great things, and they should be able to read anything.
Yeah.
Yes, Anne Maria.
Quick question. If like a billionaire or like a trillionaire invested into the problem of inequality and poverty, and if we all should the problem be solved, because there've been like these stories and like articles saying that like if like humanity wants it, then they can have it. So some people were like they wanted like technology, they wanted to access things like easier because they wanted it. They like took money and then they got what they wanted. So if like people actually wanted the problem and like millionaires or like all of us just chipped in, wouldn't the problem be solved?
So what you are saying is,
So can billionaires solve the problem? They give out money. Am I right? They donate money, help others. Would that solve the problem? If we take money from like a socialist situation, distribute is the root cause of the problem.
But Anne Maria, interestingly, resources is not a problem in terms of addressing poverty. We have enough resources with the country governments and national governments. And if you look, for instance, in Bangladesh alone, the money spent on poor for the last 40 years, if they had used those resources effectively, disbursed effectively, and then there won't be any poverty in Bangladesh right now. So the point is the resources have been actually flowing to a country in a big way. But in terms of using that resources, and here comes the problem. So the billionaires, and they have been working quite a lot for Bono, the musician Bono, and many others. They have been working on this for last few years. And what they are doing is they are generating an awareness on this issue among the large group of people who are involved in that work. And they are contributing as well. Bill Gates is a classic case. And you might have heard about Gates Foundation. And Gates Foundation started by Bill Gates and his wife Melinda Gates. And they invest quite a lot of money on developing vaccines, providing safe drinking water, other health and safety, female health and safety issues, and many things. They have been doing it for a long period of time. Even in the case of COVID vaccine, they had invested quite a lot. So the billionaires are doing their share, definitely. And also there is a big move, widely known as philanthropist. In Wipro, we have a big company in India, Wipro, and he contributed a large percentage of his money for an university and some other poverty-related work. Because his belief is how much money I need to translate to my children. The children are getting education. Bill Gates also shares the same philosophy. Children are getting education and then they will get job. They will work hard and they will have a good life. Why should I translate all the resources what I have to the children? I can share something for the poor and needy in the society. Isn't it? So, yes. So to answer to your question, yes, billionaires can do quite a lot, but it's a problem beyond the availability of resources.
Then why aren't the countries using the resources then? Like, what's the problem? Like, why aren't they using it? And then what can I do so they can use it? Because like, if they just use it, the problem will be solved. But they're not even using it. Then like, what can we do? Like,
okay, if I can get into that.
Can't we force anyone to do anything?
No, cakes are sent to your home. Okay, this is supposed to be divided into 3 siblings, and one sibling is eating all the cake, and the others are left. No matter how much ever you send to that home, one sibling is eating all the cakes. Will the poverty be ever resolved?
no. Then how do we stop that sibling then?
That is something for. Am I right, Professor?
No. I think Prakash. I think that is fantastic. I think what is important is, Anna Maria. If you have resources going there, are we targeting the right users? Targeting is important because we have been, for instance, ration shops. Have you heard about this word back in Kerala? if you ask your parents, they may explain. We have a very efficient public distribution system. It has been going on for many, many years. That means subsidized rate for rice and pulses like that, oil, etc. So that means everyone should have that. Then there should not be poverty. But still, it's not happening. And in the COVID period, I'm not sure, there were some disturbing images from India where the migrant workers, the workers from Kerala, are actually walked back to their hometowns in Bihar, Assam, like that, because there was no train. So they had to physically walk from with children and like that. So, the kind of the situations, the context which generate poverty actually change from time to time. So to fast, we need to understand that, because until then, no one, even a big government like Government of India or a big state governments, we never realize this is a very big problem. The migrants, if we stop all our trains and everything suddenly, then what will happen to these migrants? This is a very big problem, nearly 40 lakhs migrants. And so the point is, in each situation, the context actually changing. So you need better targeting. The word is targeting. You need to target the right people. That's why when I said earlier, we have, the Aadhaar card and so many things going on in India. That means like national identity card. Like our national insurance number, an identity for each and every individual in the country. So that means we know by using that number, you can get all the details of all the background of that person. And then if they need, governments can actually provide support directly to them. So the targeting, that is the main question. We need to focus on that targeting one. Because even, and Maria, 1 second, even for the cakes issue, as Prakash said earlier, the cake is actually coming to the house and one person is not very aggressive, or one of your siblings may not be that aggressive to get the cake. But the other person is seeing the cake, wow, I need that cream cake, or I need the cherry, like that. So he will jump on the cake. So then the parents, they have to say, look, wait, I will cut this cake and everyone will get a fair share. So that's called targeting. Targeting is very important. Please, Anne-Maria, continue.
So like, who are like the right people to target? So if you like targeting the right people, then would the problem be solved then?
Targeting the right people?
Yeah, so like, who are like the people that you like, target to like, get the issue like solved, like the parents with the cake thing? So then like, who are the right people to target?
Yeah, so that kind of a right people, how to identify the right people, we need data. And the data, you need to know about your clients, you need to know about people. And that is why the governments and many other agencies, they can get the right kind of people who need this kind of help. And then it would be much more easier. Okay.
Thank you.
It's okay, good pleasure.
Okay. Now, Ashwati has been waiting patiently to ask a different question. Brexit. Do you entertain any questions on Brexit?
I think that's a very different issue. I haven't studied Brexit, but please ask Ashwati.
Brexit and poverty. How is Brexit going to affect poverty? Or Ashwati, please.
And it was just a general question. I thought children would like to know about it. We had been hearing about Brexit over a long time, isn't it? And I just wanted to ask you, like, when the Brexit comes in, the changes that we are going to find in the economy based on the business deals and transactions and all the trade things comes in from European countries. So I was just thinking if you could share something for the children, so that they know better what's happening here.
Okay. The Brexit, I hope all of you, all the children, they know about Brexit. Brexit means UK was actually part of an Europe for a long period of time for trade and transactions for business. And suddenly it's stopped now. So it's not going to happen after a couple of months or from there. But how do you survive in that kind of a situation? Do you think your country will go and suicide for that? Oh, we lost all our trade from Europe. Then how will we live? They will search around the other countries and find a market to replace the gaps in the system. And they are going to have individual treaties, individual business arrangements with big economies in the world, big economies. Big economies means size, big size economies in the world, like China, India, Brazil, South Africa. And these countries are actually growing and they are going to have big treaties with them. And we are in an advantageous position because England was colonizing, or England was a colonizer for a long period in many of these countries. So we have an advantage. We have some other plus as well. We speak more or less same language with all these countries because of our colonial past. Isn't it? If a person from Mumbai and a person from Kerala, when they meet in England, they speak in not their languages, but they speak in English. And English is the language of British. So they have an advantage there. And they have so many other things. Just imagine a situation, a small country like England. It's ruled all over the world for a long period of time. So they have certain systemic things there. And I have huge, immense faith in this system because after 2007, just imagine, after 2007 financial crisis, and we tried our best to reduce our expenses and very harsh conditions for the first 3 years. And then just before COVID, the statistics says that from 2015 onwards, country was actually growing at a very good rate, very different from the past financial crisis situation. So the COVID is also a great challenging situation. So probably the next few years may be difficult, but after that, the country will come back. I was listening to the conversation last Sunday, and the guest speaker was saying at that time, every crisis is an opportunity. So how to make it more and a good situation, that's very important. Isn't it? So think about it. When you look around, children normally complain, oh, my friends are not good, they are mean to me, they are not doing good to me. And then what you will do? You will go and find new friends and you enjoy your company, your comfort zone. So that's a human nature to move forward. I consider the Brexit and COVID all actually gives that kind of challenging situation. And if you look at the responses from the UK government is very strategic in terms of developing responses to face these two, to address these two challenges together. And what you hear in the context of COVID are actually a reflection of some of the ongoing Brexit challenges. It's not only because of COVID, but that's a different story. So the point is, every government or every individual, every family should transform any crisis situation to an opportunity. That's very important.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Have you been to any countries that are not are not as rich as others, and have you helped them in any ways?
Yes, I have been a very frequent visitor to countries in Asia and Africa mainly. And my research mainly focus on 6 countries in these 2 continents, South Africa, Tanzania, Ghana, mainly Ghana, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and India. So I focus on these 6 countries so I do quite a lot of projects to support the government, support the people, population, and many governments use some of the findings. Yes, I have been engaged in this kind of activities for many years, but in addition, I have also worked with many other countries in Africa and Asia. But mainly, if you look around the last 25 years of my studies, I focused on these 6 countries mostly. Okay.
Can I ask you something? It might be entirely different from the context of, I don't know, but this has been haunting me for a while. I happened to watch some disturbing videos from India where the people below the poverty line, they had been, when they are abandoned on the roads, they had been abused or tortured by the police officers and taken into a van, beaten up several times, even the person was unconscious. As a person who works on different projects for helping out the poor people or based on poverty and giving suggestions for different governments, would it be possible as children from UK or something to appeal something to the Indian government to do something against this or be kind to them? Basically, it has been very disturbing because just because they are poor, you can't be like that. You can't.
I fully agree with your sentiments, Shruti, and I strongly say that we need to react to that kind of a situation either by writing in the papers or writing blogs or sending a request to the government and all these modalities we need to do. Then some people may say, okay, you have been doing all these things on various other issues. How did the governments respond so far? We know that governments are very conservative in terms of developing their responses on these things. But the responses will come on a sustained effort over a period of time. So I would say that pick up the issue and popularize the issue and caught the attention of the government, and then using the lobbying and pressure groups and through MPs or elected representatives. And that is why normally a problem will find a solution at the end. Because, I remember one of the parliamentary bills, which I'm very much keen to get it passed in India. And I have been working with that bill through the legislatures in Delhi since 2007. It is still there in the parliamentary committees, it's going through the subcommittees, but governments don't consider that as a priority bill to bring it up. So it is there. It's there, but it will come. It will take its own course like that. But that's why my first point is our job is to articulate it and pressurize them on a continuous basis. We may not get the results immediately, but don't get dejected, but you have to work continuously.
Thank you for coming again to the motivational webinar. We thank Professor Arun for spreading his knowledge with us and being questioned by us. We thank you, the audience, for coming in, and the organizers for organizing this. And we hope to see you again next week, and possibly today at 4 p.m. at Pudding Club, and 4 p.m. on Friday at our book club.
Thank you, Alan and others, and thank you for inviting me, Prakash and Binoy. I think it's a great opportunity, and I got some other angles to look into in terms of my research. You people have enlightened me, so thank you very much. And it's a great opportunity to talk to young and vibrant minds always. And I always consider that's the beauty of my profession, because I always meet youngsters, and youngsters are full of ideas and thoughts. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. All the best for you.